Yay Networks.
Welcome back to another episode of Junkyard Mayhem.
Welcome back.
My hands are sweating profusely.
Why?
This is a small sweat update,
Shame.
a sweat date. If you've been following this podcast for any amount of time, you probably are pretty invested in my hand sweat.
No one is.
And I just wanted to let you know that about 2 weeks ago, while we were at the Garrison conference, I spoke on a panel presentation.
Oh my God.
And during that presentation, my hands were profusely sweaty, as they often are when I'm speaking into a microphone, and chilly at the same time.
It was a very air-conditioned room, you're right.
It was a perfect storm for hand sweat. And they were sweaty. I had them on my lap like I do now. And about midway through the presentation, I looked down at my lap. I was wearing khaki-colored shorts. And I thought to myself, oh, that's a weird shadow that my head is making. So I kind of like moving my head around. Don't worry, someone else is speaking at this point. I'm not doing this while I'm mid-presentation. But I am on stage, and I'm looking down, and the shadow's not moving. And then I move my hand and realize with horror that the shadow is actually sweat.
It's a puddle.
A blossomed sweat stain that is spreading.
Yeah.
And looks like I have just been sitting up there continuously pissing myself.
Yep. Pee everywhere. But it's not pee. It was sweat.
It was a big outline.
Do you admit that you have a problem now?
Yes.
So can we get...
Hang on, I bought medicated ointment.
That was over the counter. I'm talking we need to go to a doctor. I think you need to get Botox injections in your hands. I have heard that people get Botox for excessive sweating. I really feel like this is something that needs to be done.
You know as well as I that the ointment worked very well. And now I'm off the ointment.
Because it's unsustainable to wash your hands and put ointment on 3 times a day.
2 times a day.
Okay.
And yes, it was very
As soon as we had to get on the
unsustainable.
plane, we were like, we can't bring the ointment on with us.
It wasn't even that. We would like get up and we'd be like, oh, it's dinner and you forgot to do your morning
So
ointment.
just get a fix that will last for months.
No.
Oh
What if we
God.
found out that the ointment was what killed all my sperm?
Yeah, we don't know. That could have had horrible side effects.
I'll look into it.
Oh my God.
FDA.
No.
I wanted to lead with a lighthearted story.
Oh, that was
because
lighthearted.
What we need to share with you now is brutal
Oh my God.
and upsetting. If there are children in the room,
They're fine.
you may want them
They're
to
fine to stay.
cover their
You
ears.
can't give false content warnings like that, Shane. What Shane is about to tell you is in no way brutal, upsetting, or inappropriate.
Brutal injury
It's
that
upsetting to
was-
him and only him.
that was done to me.
An attack? Would you call it an
An
attack?
attack,
Uh-huh.
a beating, a
No.
beat down.
And who performed the beatdown?
My wife,
Yeah, okay.
Hannah.
Why don't you tell them exactly what happened?
That I am able to sit this close to you right now.
Everyone, I just want you to know right now that this is about a toenail injury. Okay? It was not a beatdown. It's about a toenail.
Have you ever been so hurt, physically and emotionally, that you question your value?
All right, why don't we tell them what happened, Shane, with that introduction?
Last night, we were huddling into bed.
How most beatdowns start. I was tucking you in.
It was the rapid transition from
Loving cuddle
loving,
to searing pain.
routine, what I expect to be happening,
Uh-huh.
to mayhem.
Mm-hmm.
We're huddling in, and Hannah is roaching herself closer to me in bed.
Yes, I am. I'm using my upper body I'm worming across the bed to cuddle in.
As she does every night.
Yes.
And on this particular night, her legs were flailing
I worm.
much more than normal.
I don't know. It was your positioning that was different. I do this every time. I was, worming my upper half, and then I would worm my lower feet out and tug myself across the bed. And when I went to worm my lower legs out, when I kicked them out,
It was
I
not
got caught on something.
Yes. Her worming foot, which I would describe more as a dolphin kick, made direct contact with the square nose of my third toe on my right foot. I love that you're laughing so
Oh my
hard.
God. Because
What I experienced was a lightning bolt of pain directly into the front of my toe that shot up through my foot, radiated through my shin bones,
God.
my femur,
Oh
my
my-
hip, and
Really?
settled itself
Really?
at the base of my spine. Blinding, searing, white hot pain
Oh my God.
directly into the toe. I shrieked. I yell out loud.
Yes.
F word,
Yes, you do.
what the,
Yep.
unexpected, the worst pain I've ever
Ow.
felt.
Yes. Worst pain he's
Oh
ever
my
felt.
God.
Mm-hmm.
What was your reaction?
I was like, oh my God, I babied you. I was like, oh my God, my poor baby Grubby, poor baby. Do you need me to check your toe? He's
I am incoherent
Yeah.
because I can't open my eyes enough to properly.
The lights were already out. So I was like, do you want me to check your toe? What happened to your toe? And he's like, it's broken. My toe's
It's broken.
broken. And so I'm like feeling around. It's not broken. And I'm like, do you want me to check your toe?
I
And
said
he was
no.
like, no.
I was like, I'm fine.
It wasn't because it wasn't that big of a deal. This is all an exaggerated story. Shane did not want to check his toe.
No, I mean, yeah, it hurt badly, but I was like, okay, like, ow.
Yeah.
I did yell because it really hurt.
And then you were
But
like,
I was
cuddle in.
Yeah, cuddle close.
He
Like,
moved on.
whatever, moving on. We fell asleep
Yes.
as lovers. And
And then you were betrayed.
3 or 4 hours, a betrayal occurs. And the same dolphin kick connects in the same exact manner with the same exact toe mid-sleep. So now the flailing of her limbs is not even regulated by like awareness. She is just
Which you knew. You nicknamed me Squirmy. You know I squirm around in my sleep. It is not my fault. I do that every night. Your toe was in a weird spot.
so I am awoken abruptly, ripped out of sleep by 10 times the pain of the initial kick.
And I was awoken by Shane screaming the F word. And I didn't know what I had done because I was asleep.
And as you
Just trying to
as you
find my
gently
husband in
as
the
you
bed.
gently awoke,
Yeah.
I was seething.
Yeah, he was mad.
I was cursing, and I didn't it felt like you were laying there awake, and you were like, I am gonna kick the hurt toe. Like it was
the
so
hurt toe?
the exact spot. That
It was the same thing.
it had to be a little bit
It
planned
wasn't.
and purposeful.
It was not.
So once again, she begins to coddle me,
Yes.
I
I'm
am
soothing him back to sleep
sobbing
like a
at
toddler.
this point.
He did not cry.
No, once again, she was like, oh my God, so sorry. I was a little bit annoyed this time.
Yeah.
I was like, you've just now woken me up by bludgeoning my injured toe.
Yeah. And I coddled you a little less because I was asleep. So I'm disoriented.
But you did
trying-
it again. You were like,
Yeah.
you want me to look at it? I was like, no, I'm
Yeah.
fine. Just
Poor toe, poor toe.
don't do it again. I think you rolled like
I moved.
further
I
away.
did. I literally scooted all the way across the bed to the area I never sleep in, my side, and I did not go back towards you the whole night because I was like, if I do this a third time, I don't know what he's gonna do.
So I spent the rest of the night awake because I cannot.
Shane, such lies.
I cannot allow myself to give up that safety.
You're lying.
No,
You're blatant lies.
I fell right back to sleep.
He's asleep.
And the next morning, we awake, and I remind Hannah about the violence that occurred last night. We,
First words out of his
we
mouth.
kind of laugh about it as we are now. We
Mhm.
recount the horror, and
And I'm like, oh my God, I have to check your toe.
we were like, "Oh, do you want me to look at it now?"
yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, sure, check it." She pulls down the covers and finds
And I go, oh my God.
blood.
Yeah.
My toe
Yep.
looks like a toe crash. There are fragments of
No.
nail.
No.
There's
No.
dried blood.
There's dried blood, and that is it. Your nail is intact.
The toe itself is compacted down to about 1/3 its original length.
Nothing. My God. Nothing is wrong with the toe. Nothing is even wrong with the nail. The nail had bled a bit. I must have pulled it up a
She
little.
kicked me
But
hard
it's
enough
not like I pulled your nail
to
off.
separate nail from skin.
Yes, and he
nail
bled a little.
from nail bed.
There was dried blood under his toenail, and that was enough to, I mean, look at him. He
I-
could not believe it.
I am wearing a face of shock.
That's when this
right
turned
now.
from like, I hurt my toe last night to the story that you just heard. As soon as there was blood, it escalated.
I said, Hannah, get me up as fast and as carefully as you can. I need to tell the world
yeah.
about what you've done.
Yes.
And since then, I've been telling everyone.
Uh-huh. Yes, you have.
To strangers.
That's
and,
nice for me.
I would like to give just a brief opportunity for you to apologize if you'd like to.
I do apologize. I'm so sorry that that happened to you. And I
Wait,
will
wait,
try.
Oh, that was passive. Was there a more?
I'm so sorry I did that to you.
Thank you.
I am sorry.
Will it happen again?
I don't know because I think that I did the same thing I do every night. So I'm a little bit confused.
Actually, this happened 2 nights ago. And
Yeah.
last night, I was like, all right, no, huddle, but do it very carefully.
And it didn't happen again. I think it was just a really strange occurrence of, how we were both laying.
Almost as if it was purposeful
It's almost as if that,
and
but
calculated.
but actually it wasn't. So can we move on now? Because everyone is like, is this the whole episode? Are we going to get past the toe? I'm wondering that at this point.
It's been 48 hours, and
Yeah.
I'm wondering when we'll be able to get past the toe. But
right,
it's
everyone.
throbbing.
We're going to take a break. I'm going to let Shane calm
We're
down.
going to wipe up the puddle that's
There's-
under my toe.
No more blood.
We got to change my shoes again.
Oh my God. We will be right back.
When I was a little kid, we were going on a family vacation, and like the day before we left, we discovered this weird patch of like white and red skin on my
Oh.
leg
Oh,
in a perfect square.
what?
And we didn't have the time to like get a doctor's appointment and get it figured out, and so
Yeah.
we just went on the vacation. It never went away for like a month, and I just didn't know what was wrong with me.
Wow.
If that had existed back then,
Yeah.
I should have found a doctor right away and been like, hey, can you maybe look at this?
Sounds like you needed that.
So it's bad. To this day, I don't know what it was.
Oh, okay. ZocDoc is a free app where you can find amazing doctors and book appointments online. We're talking about booking appointments with thousands of top-rated, patient-reviewed doctors and specialists. You can filter specifically for ones who take your insurance, are located near you, and treat almost any condition you're searching for, like a square rash.
I need doctors that specialize in geometric shapes. I need a doctor of geometry.
Okay. The average wait time to see a doctor booked on ZocDoc is between just 24 to 48 hours.
See, it would have been so helpful.
You can even score same-day appointments, like for that issue.
I need to know. Will it fester?
Go to ZocDoc.com/junkyard and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/junkyard. ZocDoc.com/junkyard.
Okay.
We're back.
Time for Hannah's story.
Time for my story. I'm going to take over, everyone. Don't worry. I'm here to save you. It's not about a toe, shockingly.
It is about a
Oh,
medical story of sorts.
It is. This memory came to me like 2 nights ago,
Yeah.
right before the toe, actually. So
It all lines up.
there might be something in there. But Shane knew about this, what I'm about to tell you, but I had never, it came to me in a new way where I was like, oh my God, I don't think I've been thinking about this childhood memory the correct way.
Yeah, it's like that thing of when you've had a memory of your childhood for so long.
Yeah, that's just fine.
Yeah, it's just like a memory, and you never really give it much thought. And then as an adult, you replay it, and you're like, oh, you know what? That was weird.
Yeah.
I need to think about that a little bit differently.
Exactly.
You know?
And so it came to me late at night, and I was like, Shane, I got all worked up about it. I was like, I cannot believe this. And we decided we would just tell the story here. I'm curious what everyone's going to think. I think this is the weirdest thing that's ever happened, but maybe it's not. Maybe maybe I'm not calibrated correctly here.
Yeah, well, we know you're not calibrated, but okay.
Okay, so this happened when I think I was around 12-ish,
So
11 to 13. I don't
What
know.
grade is that for people
Sixth grade.
like me that don't know ages?
Sixth grade,
Okay.
I think, but I'm just going based off of which doctor I'm seeing. It was not my original pediatrician,
Okay.
and so it wasn't when I was 8. I think I was 12 or 13.
Yeah.
I'm not positive.
I all of my memories of my youth are separated to first house and second house.
I know.
And I have no more accurate
Yeah,
understanding of my age
I know.
for any story of my youth.
And this one is particularly, it's I have the doctor's office. I do not know what age I was when I went there, but it was around there. It was young teen years. So I went to the doctor. It was just a family doctor. And I never went back to this woman, I think because of how this visit went.
Okay.
This was I think I found a different
Is this
doctor.
about medical malpractice?
I think so. I think I was egregiously wronged here.
Okay.
But we'll see. I went to this doctor. I think I was looking for a referral because I was having trouble taking deep breaths, breathing. And I had exercise induced asthma. I think I either wanted a different inhaler or to go to a lung specialist. I was I cannot fully breathe.
Did you notice it only when you were swimming or?
No, it was
all the
all the
time?
time.
Oh, wow.
It was all the time. I
Okay.
was I cannot breathe correctly. Something is wrong. So I went to this doctor and I'm telling her that.
Did it feel like pneumonia? You couldn't take deep breaths? I'm just trying to understand
Kind
what
of,
that
yeah.
felt
I couldn't get a full deep breath in.
Okay. Got it.
So I told the doctor this and she's asking me questions. I do think this was my first time seeing her. I'm not sure. And at a certain point, this is where my memory kind of picks up. She says, I see that you've been taking some really deep breaths while you're sitting here. You're taking a lot of deep breaths. Are there any major changes going on in your life? And I was like, excuse me? And she was like, I think that what you're describing is anxiety. And is there anything going on in your life that would cause that? Look, I don't remember. I think I said no. It was when you're 12, I didn't have anything a parent had died. I didn't have anything
No.
big. It was probably I have exams coming up or a really big swim meet, stuff like that. Whatever.
You were kind of a worrier from what you tell me about your
Yes.
youth. You would worry about more existential
Yes.
things.
I absolutely. So I was probably my upcoming death in a couple of
Yeah, well, I found out that we all died.
when we all
so-
die, that's really stressing me out. So I was I couldn't believe it. I was oh my God, that does make sense.
Mhm.
So all of this so far is fine. Okay, this is not the part that I have a problem with.
Yeah, and she said, I had anxiety.
Yeah, it was kind of a breakthrough moment where I was oh my God, I'm
Yeah.
anxious. I'm not having a lung problem.
Mhm.
Okay, all good to go. However, the part where this gets weird is when you diagnose a child with anxiety or whatever she was telling me.
Any really mental health condition.
Yeah, you would think that you would follow up on that or give some sort of
There needs to be a
prescription.
plan.
What's the plan, ma'am? Because I came in with difficulty breathing. You're telling me it's anxiety. That feels correct. I'm horribly anxious all the time. I can't breathe. And what
You're
are you going to
noticing
do?
it. You're physically
Yes.
witnessing it with your own eyes, Doc. You see me heaving over here, and I'm just having a conversation.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here. Horrible, horrible. Okay. You would think that she would either, tell me to go to a psychiatrist.
There's definitely a referral in this plan.
there should have been a
somewhere.
referral.
There needs to be a counselor brought in.
Yes, somebody. No. You want to know what this woman prescribes me, everybody? I am not kidding you, leaves the room and comes back with a paper bag. And she tells me to breathe into the paper bag and that will cure my anxiety.
As in the cute way of calming down in the moment.
I Googled
Sure.
this. I Googled this
Yeah.
yesterday because I was like, am I wrong here that like this is a well-known thing to cure anxiety? No, it is something that actually it's not really like you're not supposed to do it anymore. Like people are like, this is actually like not really what you should be doing, but like this is 15 years ago. Like maybe then it was fine, but it's for a panic attack.
Right.
It's to like regulate you in an emergency situation. It is not like you are an anxious person with anxiety. You should breathe into a paper bag, 24/7?
Yeah, it's a Band-Aid for
Yeah.
an acute moment of anxiety,
Yes.
not a way to manage long-term anxiety. And that's the big thing here that I think is weird. There was no like, let's see you in 3 months and let's have you talk to a counselor.
Yeah.
Why are you anxious?
Nope.
It was
Paper
take a bag home. Did she give you any like breathe into it 5 times a day? Or?
I don't remember. I remember she made me breathe into it there. She
Mm-hmm.
was like showing me how to do it. And she was like, breathe into this bag. This is how you use it.
But
And I
that was
like,
the totality
okay.
of her plan for you.
Yes.
Was take your bag home, breathe
And then
into it.
it turned out to not be a physical issue. So therefore there's nothing wrong, right?
Did you seek further opinions or additional?
Nope. My mom was like, well, she was given the paper bag. Like my mom didn't know what to do.
Yeah, but the doctor tells you to do
Yeah.
something.
That was supposed to be like what I was supposed to do for this issue.
Did you use your paper bag?
No. Probably that day I did, and then I was like, this is not helping the problem.
Yeah, it's not addressing the root here.
No. It's not addressing the root.
Interesting.
So can you believe that? I feel like that's really weird that I went and was diagnosed with anxiety and was sent home with a paper bag. I hope that still doesn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, it feels a little bit like when I was in college and I saw my first counselor ever.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't feeling good about a lot in my life. And my counselor basically, after a few sessions, told me that I have depressive tendencies,
Yeah.
but he wasn't going to do anything about it because obviously I should have depressive tendencies given my disability and my life at that time. Like, it was just like, yeah, you're pretty depressed, but like,
That makes sense.
you should be.
You should be. Oh my God.
That felt hard. And like, yeah, I saw him more and we continued talking,
Yeah.
but I was expecting a little bit more. After someone says, you have this condition that is negatively impacting your life,
Yeah.
you kind of expect them to be like, well, here's what we'll do about it.
Yeah. Not like, well,
Not-
that makes sense. I'm surprised he didn't give you a paper bag. You should try that, Shane. Have you ever tried the bag method?
No, but now that
I
I'm hearing
swear
about
by
it,
it.
I need to address that, or I need to try that out.
Yep.
Well, that was I wonder what people will think.
I know.
Like, do you all think that was an appropriate
Response?
reaction or response?
I hope
I
not.
don't know.
It wasn't to me. It
If
was
you're
not
her
appropriate
doctor,
response.
and you remember this,
Yeah, ma'am.
maybe leave a comment. Let us know what you were thinking.
Yeah. How many kids did she send home with paper bags that probably should have been referred to?
There's a whole group of people with severe anxiety as adults because they were given the paper bag method as kids.
It didn't work. No, it didn't work.
That's a wild story.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a quick break now, and then we have another wild story about something that happened in my youth.
Yeah.
Well, not really
It
my
wasn't
youth.
youth. I knew
My
you.
adulthood.
Yeah.
Never mind. That led to my anxiety.
I was going to say, it feels like a formative memory for Shane, so it seems like a childhood thing, but it was really when he
No,
was like
it was-
23.
Less than 10 years ago.
Yep.
All right, we'll be right back. We're back, and during that break, Hannah told me, or noticed, a flake of skin on my nose that she said looked like a booger.
Yeah.
So if it's looked like I've had a booger in my nose for the last 2 or 20 minutes,
Yeah. Sorry about
it
that.
was a flake of skin, nothing more.
And if you couldn't see it, then this was a really unnecessary.
Now I'm calling attention to it.
Yep.
Now you're all rewinding the video to see it. Up there it is. Okay. This story, we got to thinking about this story, after talking about Hannah's anxiety saga as a kid. I today am a very anxious person. I like one of the focal points of my anxiety is like never quite feeling safe. Like there's always something bad hiding around the corner that I'm a little bit afraid of, you know? I that feels weird to say,
Yeah.
but if I hear a weird noise, I'm like, oh, someone's breaking in the house.
Yeah.
Things like that. And that began, I believe, from a ridiculous, what do you even call it? Experience that happened right around the beginning of our relationship, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so this happened when I first knew Shane. So I remember this story in real life, but Shane wrote about it in his book.
Yes.
And we figured what better way to tell the story than, I mean, you wrote about this when it was fresh. So if
Yeah.
we told it now without, looking back, we might miss some things, but I can just read the chapter
Yeah.
and
So
we'll learn all about it.
here's the experience that led to, or part of why I feel like I am an anxious adult is from my book, Strangers Assume My Girlfriend Is My Nurse.
Yep.
I need to update the title to wife.
I know.
And here we go. If I interrupt, that is, and you're, listening, not watching, that is not in the book. That's just my thoughts.
Yes. All right. Chapter 2. So this was big. You were like, I'm putting this right at the beginning.
it was happening as I was writing the book. And I was
Yeah.
like, this is a good story. Okay,
Mhm.
here we go.
It's entitled Ron. It was Good Friday, a day of somber reflection for millions of Americans. It was cloudy, but unseasonably warm for late March. It was mid-afternoon. I had the day off, as did my father, who spent his day doing quiet work around the house. Laundry, organizing the garage, more laundry. He came into our dining room where I was enjoying a refreshing adult beverage and working on this very book. It was a lazy day. On the back patio to my left, a gathering of birds was devouring the seeds my mom had put out for them this morning. My dad pulled the earphones off my head. You good if I run over to Brian's to see his new bike? He asked me. Yep, I said, not really listening. At the age of 23, I stayed
Rude
home.
of me.
I know.
Yep, ignore.
At the age of 23, I stayed home alone quite often. Sounds reasonable, right? And yet, people always reacted with surprise when they learned that I wasn't constantly monitored by an able-bodied adult figure. Take my grandfather, for instance, who thought my mom was joking when she first told him that some days during college I just hung out at the house alone if I didn't have classes. As long as I had my phone and some food within reach, I was perfectly content. As long as I moderated my beverage intake and avoided IMAX films about beavers, I could hold my pee for days, so that was not an issue. Still, my grandfather grumbled that I should have someone with me. In his mind, leaving a person with a disability alone was absurd, since his mind blended all disabilities together into a big jumble of helplessness. All right, I'm skipping ahead because Shane goes on and on about independence and his burden complex.
Very
and
verbose.
I'm going to
The
go.
point is, on the Good Friday, I'm home alone.
He's home alone.
Well, no, actually, my dad was still
Hold
home.
on, I'm getting to the book. So my dad left the room to get ready, and I returned to my work. A few minutes later, I saw a figure walking slowly up the porch toward our back door. What the hell? Nobody uses our back door except me and occasionally my brother, but he was 3 hours away at college. There was a knock, followed shortly by the doorbell, which we installed years ago so I could get my parents' attention when I was playing outside.
My heart rate is like increasing just thinking about this.
I couldn't physically turn my head far enough to see who it was through the glass back door. Dad? Someone's at the back door? I said, hoping he hadn't left for Brian's yet. Who in the world? Said Dad as he returned to the dining room and opened the back door. Hey, can I help you? The man's voice was old but gentle. May I come in? My dad hesitated, but then opened the door wider. Sure, everything okay?
My dad is the friendliest human being in the entire world. The guy could have been holding a sword, and my dad would have been like, come on in, bud, what's up?
Oh. The man didn't answer, but walked into our dining room, past my dad, and into my field of vision. His steps were slow, almost like he was deliberately taking his time. He stopped a few feet into the room and turned his head to look down at me. He was tall, with sleek white hair and expensive clothing, dress pants, dockers, plaid button-up, and a black suit jacket. Do I know you? He asked, looking at me with genuine curiosity. My initial thought was that he was one of my blog followers. I've had a few rare occasions where strangers felt it was acceptable to simply drop by my house to meet me. It's not acceptable, it's creepy 100% of the time. But his question didn't seem to support that theory. He was truly asking who I was. Either that or he was toying with me. I'm not sure. Do I know you? I said, trying not to let the bizarre situation influence my voice. He laughed, full out chuckled to himself. Then suddenly, he stopped and looked directly into my eyes. No. He said it with force, like a parent scolding a child, more of a command than a response.
Pause. I just have to underline here. The laugh was like maniacal. Like, this is already the weirdest thing that's ever happening to me. And then she cackles when I ask, do I know you? It is like, it haunts me. It haunts me. Okay, keep going.
He walked farther into our kitchen, keeping his eyes glued on me. His arms were crossed. My next thought was that this was a trick. Mom was constantly berating me for sharing too much on the internet, and I now wondered if she and Dad had put this little scare together to teach me a lesson.
I wish it had been that.
At the very least, this theory explained why my dad had been so quick to let the total stranger into our house. Another similar theory that flashed through my mind was that my dad had invited an old friend over and told him to mess with me just for shits. The man stopped in our kitchen directly in front of me now and looked around at the fixtures. "This is a nice kitchen," he said. Then he turned his attention back to me. "Do I know you?" he asked in exactly the same tone as before. The alcohol in my system was not helping at this point. I looked down and my phone screen was visibly greasy from the sweat on my palms.
Oh, call back.
My heart rate was beginning to climb. "No, dude, I don't think so. Who are you?" I felt inexplicably wimpy. Again, no. He laughed and walked around the table toward me. The process repeated itself for a third time. "Dad, what the is going on?" I said, no longer hiding my growing fear.
And I remember I whimpered that. Like, my voice was quivering. I was like, "Dad, what's happening?" And there's this very, very scary man, and he's coming towards me.
Dad was still standing behind me near the back door, and the way he answered both refuted my current theories and scared me more than anything else that had transpired so far. "Shane, I really have no idea." I could hear
My dad sounded just as scared.
Yeah, I could hear the fear in his voice as well. Not exactly the best thing to hear from the only person capable of defending us. "Sir, I think it's time for you to leave," he said. No. Laughter. Laughter that carried a mocking quality, the way a bully laughs at his victim. "Who are you?" I asked. "Ron," he answered matter-of-factly. "Where do you live?" asked Dad. He pointed to the southeast. 2308 Lansdale Drive. "And what are you doing here?" asked Dad. "No." He pointed to a picture of me hanging on the wall
Literally, just no.
and took another step toward me. "That's you right there." He was close enough to reach out and grab me. My voice was shaking. "Dad, can you, do something?" It felt unreal, but I was sizing up the old man. He was at least 75 years old, well-built, but still, he was old, and I decided my dad could easily take him on as long as the man wasn't carrying a weapon. "Sir, you need to leave, now." No. The man turned and walked into our living room out of my sight. Dad followed him, repeating that he needed to leave. Frantically, I dialed 911 on my phone, but I couldn't physically lift the phone to my ear.
First time ever calling 911. Not a fun thing to do.
And I didn't want to alert this possible psychopath to my actions by using speakerphone, so I simply dialed the number and flipped my phone over in my lap, hoping the responder could use my call tracking to locate our house.
Look at me being so savvy.
Oh my God.
It didn't work out that way, but...
Even as I did it, I couldn't believe I was doing it. I was either going to be the hero or I was about to get murdered. From the other room, I heard, "This is a great living room you have here." "Sir, please leave now. You're scaring my son." "Cool, Dad. Blame the kid in the wheelchair." "I have to leave now," said Ron, as if the idea had just struck him for the first time. I heard the front door opening. I flipped my phone over and shouted at the 911 responder everything that had just happened, but she didn't seem to understand. "Did he physically break into your home without your consent?" "Well, no. I mean," shit, that sounded bad. "My dad let him in, but he wouldn't leave." We went back and forth like this a few times until she agreed to send an officer over. When the officer arrived a few minutes later, Ron was long gone. The officer, young, bored, took down our story and said he'd take a look around the neighborhood. I was shaken up. Never in my life had I experienced a threat of physical violence. I was 23 years old, and I had never seriously considered the fact that I couldn't defend myself. In the past 10 minutes, Ron had rudely awoken me to that reality. What if I had been alone? What if his intentions really had been malicious? I was utterly defenseless. Sure, I could dial 911, but it would not be hard to take away my phone. What if he came back while I was alone? Imagine standing in an alligator-infested swamp with your arms and legs tied. Do you feel safe? There's more.
We can pause there, yeah. So, okay, that initial meeting of Ron was terrifying and really shook me up.
Mm-hmm.
Like that night, I think, or maybe the next night, my mom and dad had to go somewhere, so I was home alone. And I like made Hannah be on FaceTime for the whole time
Yeah.
because I was like, I am too afraid to be alone right now at
Yep.
nighttime, especially. What ended up happening over the next few weeks was Ron returned like 7 or 8 times.
Yeah.
And it became evident over those couple of weeks that involved a few more phone calls or a few more 911 calls that Ron had dementia and he was escaping from his home
Yeah.
and wandering and for whatever reason coming to our house specifically and trying to get in.
Yeah.
We stopped allowing him in, but it escalated to the point where we had to keep every door and window locked because Ron would go around to every door and window
Yeah.
trying to open it and get in. And always with this, like, and again, it was dementia, so, like, I feel bad now that I know that.
Yeah.
But he would, like, stand at the door, jiggling the lock and, like, glaring in and laughing.
Yeah.
And, like, when I'm the only one home and can't defend myself, that was horrifying.
Yeah, and you didn't know at that point, you know? Like,
No,
you
if-
eventually
yeah.
talked to his wife, you found
Yeah.
his house, and, like, then it wasn't scary. It was just like, oh, like, we need to call his wife.
Exactly. And even with it, even once I knew it was dementia, like, what might that make him do,
Yeah.
you know? If he had the idea that, like, this was his house
Yeah.
or whatever,
And
for
you
whatever
broke in.
and I was the wrong one there,
Yeah.
like, that could go south pretty fast. And so, like, yeah, 8 or 9 times he came back, and at one point he, like, stood behind our car where we were trying to leave and, like, wouldn't move. We had to call the cops then.
Oh, my
It
God.
was just a very unsettling experience, and I went through it, and it was scary and, like, whatever. But now, when I think
Mhm.
about, or when I try to analyze, like, why I'm skittish and why I like all the doors to be locked at all times, why I like to have security cameras all around my house,
Mm-hmm.
it's wrong.
Yeah.
Like, it's 100% that.
Because you never were like that.
No, I was so carefree. Like, I was not an anxious
Yeah.
person up until whatever age that was,
23.
23. So, yeah, I feel awful that Ron wasn't really getting the care that he needed. I think they ended up putting him somewhere to get better care after the 9th visit. But it also really deeply affected me.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
bummer.
Bummer. You know, well, at least now our house is safe.
And
We
I
do
didn't-
have
I
nice
didn't-
security system.
We do have a very nice security system. I didn't have a paper bag at the time.
That's
Yeah.
the problem. If you had just had the paper bag as Ron was standing over
I
you.
would have been like, Ron, come on in. I got my paper bag here. I'm going to breathe into it vigorously while you explore our house.
Oh my God.
I think this episode should be titled Anxiety
Oh.
and Anguish.
Oh. Is that because of the toe
The story of a toe,
and a
a
bag?
traitor,
Yeah.
and a bag.
All right. Well, this was an interesting episode of Junkyard Mayhem.
It was. I hope you enjoyed it.
As always, if you enjoyed it, please review, like, comment, share, anything like that. We really appreciate it. And it's a junkyard out there.
Yes, it is. And our incinerator is malfunctioning. Last night, Jerry put an entire automobile in it, thinking it would smother it.
You're supposed to do something that is like a callback from our episode. Who the hell is Jerry? And why are you talking about an incinerator?
Oh, we just hired him.
My God.
Anyway, we had to let him go because he didn't follow protocol with the incinerator. Now, I have to get a repairman down here. Don't know how long that will take. We have a lot to incinerate.
And we will see you next week.
Bye.